Can we keep dog as a pet or for security reasons? As a pet, it is totally prohibited. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that angels do not enter a house where there's a portrait, a statue, or a dog. And he said that whoever keeps a dog other than a dog of a shepherd dog or a dog for hunting or guarding, then each day, out of his own good deeds, Allah will erase and deduct the weight of Mount Uhud of good deeds, of hasanat. A relative actually, who has a chihuahua in his house. And so many times our relatives tried to give him advice and he said, "Oh, it's cute, it's lovely, it's this, it's that." So I said to him, "Listen, do you have enough good deeds every single day that would equal Mount Uhud in hasanat?" He said, "Not even 1/10 of that." I said to him, "Then in this case, you're in debt. Because every day this is being erased and deducted from your good deeds. And this, my friend, means that you're in real deep trouble." So this is not permissible. Now, for security reasons, this is permissible, providing that these reasons are legitimate. So again, keeping a chihuahua in your house is not for security reasons. It can be eaten by cat. So if you have a German Shepherd, a Doberman, something that is really vicious, and there is a need for it, that you are in a really disturbed environment or a neighborhood, that you fear for your life, and without that they will not be deterred from breaking into your house, this seems to be permissible, providing that you keep the dog outside the house and not allowing it to enter the house, and Allah knows best.
Yeah, so most people get the impression that Muslims somehow have something against dogs. So we need to go back and see where this comes from. First, we look at the Quran to see if the Quran says anything about dogs, and then we go to the traditions and we put everything together. Well, the Quran actually doesn't say anything negative about dogs. In fact, there is something positive, because in the story of the youth who hid in the cave in the 18th chapter of the Quran, the 18th chapter, we have it that they had a companion, a dog. Many commentators say that this dog will also be in paradise. Now we know that nothing impure or unclean will be in paradise, but this dog will be there. So some will say, okay, but God will make this dog pure, so it'll be in paradise. But nevertheless, the Quran does not show anything negative about the dog and doesn't show that the dog is impure. On the other hand, there is actually a mention in the Quran that the food that is procured for Muslims by means of their hunting animals is permissible to eat. This is specifically mentioned in the 4th verse of the 5th chapter of the Quran. Among the hunting animals, there were dogs at the time. So it is well known that the dog would go hunt the animal, or at least retrieve the animal that may have been killed by a spear or arrow. The dog would go retrieve it and bring it. So the dog comes with the animal in its mouth. The saliva of the dog is impure, but this seems to speak against that, because obviously the saliva of the dog gets mingled with the meat which it brings to its master. So from the Quranic perspective, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with dogs, and dogs may be good hunting animals, and the meat that they bring in their mouths are good for Muslims to eat. Obviously after washing and so on, as we would treat any other meat. So where does this idea come from that dogs are somehow impure? Well, it could be that at the time there were some dogs which were rabid, and the best way of dealing with that situation to protect the population was to euthanize some dogs. And as the people remembered the tradition, they just remembered that dogs were euthanized without remembering the reason behind it. So it's not mentioned that the dogs were rabid, but that would be a good reason why dogs were euthanized. Otherwise, there'd be no good reason. There doesn't seem to be anything fundamentally wrong with dogs per se. And that's why, obviously, exception was made for the hunting dog and the guard dog and so on.
We should be very kind to all living creatures. في كل كبد رطبة أجر. There is a reward in everything that is living, everything that has a liver, subhanallah. There is a narration of the Prophet ﷺ wherein he speaks about someone who was kind to a dog and earned the forgiveness of Allah as a result. And there are certain restrictions when it comes to our relation with the dog. But at the same time, it was the case in order to prove to us that we should never be unkind to any animal, no matter what it is.